Okay, so today we're working with the area of regular polygons, meaning an equilateral triangle, a square, and a hexagon. A couple of the vocabulary words that we're going to be working with are, two of them are probably not too different for you. We've got the center of a polygon, which is the very center of it, of course. The radius, which happens to be from the center to the edge of the polygon. Okay? And then we've got the apothem. Apothem here. And the apothem goes from the center to a side of the polygon. And it's a perpendicular line. So the radius goes to the point, to the vertex, and the apothem goes to the center of a side. So now we get to the formula for the area of a regular polygon. That is this right here. Area equals 1/2 of the apothem times the perimeter. Remember, the apothem is from the center to the side, to the middle of the side. And you know what perimeter is? Perimeter is the distance around that polygon. So now we have three regular polygons. We've got an equilateral triangle, we have a square, and we have a hexagon. So when you're drawing a radius of this particular polygon, this is the triangle, we're going to draw from the center of the polygon to the vertex. That's the radius. For the square, we go from the center to the vertex. That's the radius. And for the hexagon, to the vertex, which is the radius. Now the apothem is going to go from the center to the center of the side at a perpendicular angle. Again, from the center to the middle of the side. Those are the apothems. And then again for the hexagon. That's the apothem right there. Okay. So, when we're looking for the apothem, it also splits the angles up into special angles. So when we're looking for the angles of these shapes in here, we are looking to, first of all, divide the number of sides, divide 360 by the number of sides. So 360 divided by the number of sides in a triangle is 30. Is 120. So I know that if I divide this triangle by the number of sides, this angle right here is 120. So that means that this angle right here is 120. This angle right here is 120. This angle right here is also 120. So in order to figure out the angle 2, when I use the apothem here, I have cut this effectively in half. So now that 120 is cut in half and it becomes 60. And then for angle 3, it becomes 30. So we have a 30, 60, 90 triangle in there that we can figure out some lengths. For a square, to figure out these angles in here, we take 360 divided by 4 because there are 4 sides on the square, and that equals 90. Well, we already knew that, right? Because we knew the diagonals are going to be 90 degrees. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this apothem and cut that 90 degrees in half. So that makes angle 2 45. Well, gosh, we already know that. So angle 3 is going to be 45 also. So here we have a 45-45 triangle. And when we look at a hexagon, what we're going to do is we're going to take 360 divided by 6 because there are 6 sides in a hexagon, and we get 60 degrees. So we know that angle 1, let's do this. Angle 1 is 60 degrees. So if I cut that in half with an apothem, angle 2 is going to be 30 degrees because I cut that in half. And then angle 3 has to be 60 degrees. Oh, and we have another 30, 60, 90 triangle. That's going to be important to remember because now we have to figure out the area of this triangle. Now it tells us that it's equilateral. So that's important information for you to keep in your head. We have to figure out the apothem and the perimeter in order to fulfill this formula. Remember, we have the apothem and the perimeter. Well, the apothem is right here, and it's already been given to us. So it's a 7 radical 3. So now we have to find the perimeter. The perimeter is the distance around. If one side is 42, this side is 42, and this side is 42. So we end up with 42 times 3, which is 126. So then when we plug in the numbers, area equals 1/2 of the apothem, 7 radical 3, and the perimeter, 126. When you plug all that into your calculator, you end up with 763.3 units squared. That one's been done for you. It just gave you a little quick lesson on that one. All right, so now they give us the apothem. They give us the apothem and they don't give us the side. So again, we've got area equals 1/2 the apothem times the perimeter. Well, I know that this is a 30, 60, 90 triangle inside that equilateral triangle because we had 120 here, or here, and we cut it in half. So now this is 60. This is 30. So we have the short side, the short leg of that 30, 60, 90 triangle is 4. So we know that, so that's the apothem, we have that. But we can figure out what this length is right here by using our 30, 60, 90 rules. So we know that to get to the long leg of the triangle, we need to multiply by radical 3. So this is going to be 4 radical 3. Well, this is also 4 radical 3 because it's the other side of that. So the entire side is 8 radical 3. Why do I need that? Because I have to figure out the perimeter of that triangle. So this side is going to be 8 radical 3, and this side is going to be 8 radical 3. So what we're going to end up with is 8 radical 3 times 3, and that equals 24 radical 3. And that is the perimeter. So we're going to put 24 radical 3 here. And now we're going to plug it in. Area equals 1/2 of the apothem times 24 radical 3, the perimeter. So you type all that into your calculator and you end up with 83.1 units squared. Now they gave us the radius. Remember, this is going to be a 30, 60, 90 triangle in here. We've got this 30, 60, 90 triangle. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull that baby out of there and redraw it. 30, 60, 90. We know that this is 60 and this is 30. Well, we need both the short leg and the long leg of that triangle. We need to go from the hypotenuse to the short leg, and that's going to be 6. Remember, we divided in half. And then from the short leg to the long leg is going to be 6 radical 3. So that is the side. Okay, so now that I'm looking over here, remember area equals 1/2 of the apothem times the perimeter. I have the apothem. The apothem is 6. Now I have to figure out the perimeter of this triangle. The perimeter. So now I'm going to take this 6 radical 3 and double it, because it's going to fit alongside of it's 2 times, so to get that full side. So that side is going to be 12 radical 3. And so is this one. And this one. So now we have 36 radical 3 is the perimeter. 36 radical 3. Plug it in. Area equals 1/2 of the apothem, which is 6. And the perimeter, which is 36 radical 3. So we end up with 187.7 units squared. Now they gave us the whole side. So now we have to look at this little triangle here and pull it out so that we can figure out what the apothem is. Well, this whole side is 10 radical 3. So we know that the bottom of the base of this triangle is going to be 5 radical 3 because we cut it in half. And then to get to the apothem, we divide by radical 3, so we end up with 5 as the short leg. So that's the apothem. The apothem is 5. Now to figure out the perimeter, we're going to take 10 radical 3 times 3. 10 radical 3 times 3, that equals 30 radical 3. So 30 radical 3 is the perimeter. So again, we take area equals 1/2 the apothem times perimeter. That equals 1/2 times 5 times 30 radical 3. Type that all into your calculator, and you end up with 129.9 units squared. The next one has been done for you, so I'm going to skip that in the interest of time. We are going to move on to this one. So if they give us the apothem of a square, this is 6. This is a 45-45 triangle. We know that this is 6. So the whole side is 12. Well, the area of a square is side squared. So that equals 144. The area of this square is 144 units squared. If they give us the radius, we can figure that out easy enough too. Because it's a 45-45, we know that the sides are both, we have to divide by radical 2. I had a brain freeze for a minute. So this is 20, this is 20, This whole thing is 40. So area equals 40 squared. That's going to be 1,600 units squared. Well, if they give us a whole side, well, that's easy enough, isn't it? 16 radical 2 squared. Square the whole thing. I know this one is done for you, and we end up with 512 units squared. Okay, so now we go on to the hexagon. This one is done for you. So we are going to move on to this one. Okay, so they give us the apothem is 3 radical 3. This is 3 radical 3. How do we figure out the this side? Well, this is now the short leg of the triangle, so we divide by radical 3. So this is going to be 3. So the whole side is 6. So what's the perimeter? We're going to multiply 6 by the number of sides. That's 36. So 36 is the perimeter. Okay, so again, same formula. Area equals 1/2 of the apothem times the perimeter. That equals 1/2 of 3 radical 3 times 36. And you end up with a grand total of 98.5 units squared. Now they gave us the radius. So if they gave us the radius and we need the long leg, well, that's going to be a little bit more difficult, isn't it? So we want the long leg, but we have to get the short leg first. So let's get the short leg. Here's the short leg. That's going to be 8 radical 3 because we divided in 2. And the apothem is then going to be 8 because we divide it by radical 3. So the apothem is 8. Now we have to do the perimeter. Now remember, we want the whole side here. The whole side here is going to be 16 radical 3. So now I have to multiply 16 radical 3 times 6 to get the whole perimeter, the whole thing. Okay, so 16 radical 3 times 6. Oh, I did it wrong in my notes. Hang on just a minute. It is 166.3. So I'm going to write that here, 166.3. And then we're going to plug in the area again, times 8 times 166.3. And your total is 1,995.3 units squared. Last one. Okay, they gave us the side. That's cool because we can figure out the perimeter really easy. How do we figure out what the apothem is? Well, we have to divide the side in half. So this is going to be 11 here. And to get the apothem, we have to take that and multiply it by radical 3. So our apothem is 11 radical 3. And I know this is done for you, but I'm just going to go over this one for you too. Okay, so the apothem is 11 radical 3. Perimeter is going to be 22 times 6. 22 times 6, which happens to be 132. And then area equals 1/2 of 11 radical 3 times 132, and our final answer is 1,257.5 units squared. All right, sounds good. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a good night.